G'day, listeners. Welcome to Bar Karate, the sailing podcast. My name's Jordan Spencer, and it's that time of the week where we get to hang out with some really cool sailors. But of course, I have to share the mic with my two idiot mates. First off, let's welcome Mr. Brett Perry.
Greetings, exalted one.
BP.
G'day, everyone.
Kia ora, bro.
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah, back from New Zealand, although the flight, I can tell you what, the flight was the longest ever flight back from Auckland. I think it was nearly 5 hours, an hour and a half delayed in the air. We saw Vivid twice, which is the light show here in Sydney.
Oh,
Just circled around the top of Sydney for an hour or so. Yeah.
So you didn't have Bicey's friend on the plane?
Why, who's that?
The one that shit her pants.
No, because we were on the plane and then we landed and we were waiting on the tarmac for an hour. So God knows what was going on. Anyway, but back in Sydney now and ready to rock to the next chapter, whatever that may be.
All right. Well, there's plenty on in your world, but let's talk to Mr. Bice as well. Let's bring him in.
He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
Mr. Nick Bice.
BP, I thought you were going to say you were going the way of the albatross. And the pilot thought it would be best to go eastbound to get back to Oz.
It's been 7 years at sea.
So what was that? 10 days in the land of the long white cloud?
3 weeks.
What?
Yeah, it was 3 weeks Monday, believe it or not, next Monday. So yeah, long time.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, but had to put a couple of rainy days in the bank because I don't do rain.
Yeah, you milked that one, mate.
Yeah, but you just don't go sailing.
Good place to do it, though. Good place to do it.
Yeah.
And all the success, we've seen all the footage and the photos of the boat on the sailing. So well done. Congratulations.
Yeah, they actually left yesterday.
Love and life.
Yeah, they actually left yesterday and did the so far the record for the distance. So they sailed from Auckland up to Russell. So that was 100 miles and all good.
Very cool. Very
nice.
Cool.
Fully nutrished as well.
Oh, they ate very well. I did get a message saying I ate a lot of radix for dinner, but anyway, that's another story, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll come back to that one. Shall we bring in our guest, boys? Have we got anything else?
Oh, mate, I'm pumped. Pumped. Everything she's done up until this point in time has led to right now. And
right now.
Right. So let's do it.
Well, so for regular listeners of the show, which is pretty much everyone we've worked out, obviously we love talking to elite level competitors. Occasionally we like to slip in an adventurer, and then sometimes we like to get on the technical side, about boat work and all that sort of stuff. And then we had this genius idea. What if we could get someone that had all three of those things rolled into one? And there was just simply one person that stood out. We've been waiting to interview this person for a long time. We've kept it in the back of our mind. And she's mentioned frequently on the show, so it's only fair that she gets a right of reply.
She's more than mentioned, bit of a cult figure.
Cult figure on the show, absolutely. Welcome to the show, Liz Wardley. Liz.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
How's the intro, hey?
Hey?
Oh, mate. Might as well just end it there,
All right, and we're done.
No,
so Liz, but before we get into that you and Jordan were born in the same hospital in Papua New Guinea, all those sorts of things, just I would say paint us a picture. The picture behind you has fallen off, as BP mentioned earlier. But where are you right now? Just for the listener.
All right. So it's currently 6 a.m. in sunny Gosport. I'm in the UK. Just came over here about 3 weeks ago to start a new job, and
good job.
Very, very good outside the window, as you can imagine.
It's gloomy, did you say?
Yeah, Gosport, mate.
Gosport. What's the new job?
So I've just taken on being boat captain of an IMOCA, so the new Loxie town on province. Yeah.
Oh, very good.
Jump ship.
Congratulations. Yeah.
I saw via the socials yesterday, you had a few winches in about 1,000 parts, which is kind of your happy place. So I was guessing something new was going on right there. So this is one end of the book. Well, this is one bookmark. How about we go back to the other bookmark when you came out of that hospital in Papua New Guinea? Tell us how it all started. Was it just straight into the water? Because you are let's say a water baby let's say?
Yeah, so well, I didn't meet Jordan in the hospital. Well, I don't remember meeting him in the hospital.
A few
anyway.
years apart there,
But-
Liz.
Pardon?
We were a few years apart.
Yeah. But anyway,
Even though he
you know.
still might have been hanging around.
No. Come on.
Well, for the viewers, they'll realise that straight away.
Yeah, not straight into the water, I don't think, but we were on the water as much as we could. My dad was a very keen game fisherman over there in Rabaul, so he used to babysit me and put me in a billen bag and make me swing from the roof of the boat, and I'd go and poke all the fish, and started fishing from a very early age. Raced with my dad, and then started sailing not till I was a teenager, but always
Was that in Papua New Guinea, or you'd moved out of there by then?
No, I learned how to sail in Papua New Guinea.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So fond memories then, one would say.
Very fond memories. It was a pretty amazing place to grow up. Pretty cool opportunity, just adventure. Yeah.
Definitely adventure. My memory of it, Liz, is a few near-death experiences, like falling out of helicopters and washing away out to sea and all sorts of stuff, because your parents, there's nothing much to do. So the kids, we ran wild and, there was no TV, nothing, and your folks couldn't track you the whole time. So any near-death experiences for you that you remember?
Yeah, I guess a few.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, well, in Rabaul it was pretty intense because you have all the volcanoes. We used to go exploring in them and rolling down into live cauldrons and all that sort of stuff, and then spending hours and hours and hours at sea. And I actually did a delivery around to Rabaul when the volcanoes were blowing up, and we came around the peninsula and there was just two volcanoes, destroying the hometown. So we anchored. We anchored over the way in Kokopo and watched that for a couple of days because we didn't have enough fuel to get anywhere else. So that was pretty eye opening. Yeah.
Do not enter the red sector is what I'm thinking here.
No, and watch out for those big falling rocks.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Do you reckon growing up like that sort of gave you a sense of adventure, do you think, or, in that sort of location, or do you just think you're always going to be that way?
I definitely think growing up like that definitely sort of paved the way a bit. I mean, we got up to so much growing up in PNG, as you said, it was pretty loose, there wasn't a lot of rules, running around barefoot and just sort of fancy free. And then, after the volcanoes and stuff, we were based in Port Moresby, which was a little, I'm not going to say civilized because it was pretty it was pretty loose in itself.
Yeah.
A lot of crime and stuff. And we moved onto a boat. So we lived down on the marina, and of course, all the young water rats, we were always stealing our parents' dinghies or fishing boats and just heading to sea for grand adventures. So definitely. And then our family was involved in the search and rescue, so I was always getting involved in that. And then I made my pocket money by, berthing people's boats that were too drunk to berth their boats. We had a bit of a side business going with my old man. He'd take me out in the rubber ducky, and Captain Liz, from the age of 11, would dock the 50-foot power boat or something.
So no lack of confidence?
I just think it was more, didn't really know the consequences.
Yeah.
It wasn't me paying.
Exactly.
I love it.
And how's that then get you into the yachting side? Was it just pick up the odd beach cat here and there, or how'd that work?
Yeah, I hated sailing, definitely. I was a fisherman, and it was all about fishing. So one day someone thought I was the right weight to be their crew on a Hobie 16, slim pickings. So I said no, of course, because I was a fisherman, and my dad pretty much sort of dragged me down there and said, you got to give it a crack. So I did, and it was really windy, and we kept capsizing, and I probably got injured, and we broke heaps of stuff, and I thought it was great. So that was the start of sailing for me. And then we went on and did sort of heaps of international regattas on the Hobie 16s back in the heyday.
That was under the PNG flag.
Yep.
Yeah.
And yeah, did pretty well most of them, and just got hooked on competition and sailing, and then started sailing on a few keel boats up in Papua New Guinea, and then had the conversation with my parents that I wanted to do sailboat stuff for a living and not school.
I reckon that'd go down pretty well. How'd that initial conversation go, and then it transition into what was it? Moving to the East Coast, and then actually taking it on.
Yeah. So the first initial reaction was probably like, "You're dreaming," you know. But then I'm, the youngest of four daughters, so by this stage,
They couldn't give us stuff. Sorry, I had to throw that one in there.
I think you're probably on the money.
Yeah.
But no, my parents were pretty supportive about it. They said, "All right, well, let's give it a go. And if it doesn't work, come back after a year and go back to where you were, and we won't mention it again."
So going back to where you were, that's touring, exploring volcanoes and hanging out in Papua New Guinea.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it worked. How about that?
Pardon?
It worked. How about that?
Well, it did. It did work. So I headed off over to Australia, Brisbane actually, and started just sort of helping out on race boats and, mainly cleaning bilges and then slowly got to do other jobs and did more deliveries and sailed on more boats, and then ended up over in New Zealand at the sail loft at Doyle's with Fizzle. So he gave me a bit of a chance, an apprenticeship in what seemed like a bit of a halfway house at the time. Over there, trying to have a go at it. And then, and that really, really soon led to doing the Volvo in 2001 on Amma Sports. I was pretty young.
Before we get to the pinnacle of your career in the Volvo with Amma Sports, so what years are we talking at? Because I have a very vivid memory. I think it was 97 Hobart I did on a 40-footer. It was a long, long race. I think you did it on an S&S. I did it on an S&S on McGleary Wines. You did it on an S&S 34 from memory, and that you had a very long race. Was that the first one, or is this in kind of a couple of years after you made your big move from, to the East Coast?
So 97 was my first Hobart.
Yeah.
And we sailed down the Derwent watching the New Year's Eve fireworks.
Yeah, that's okay. That's not that bad.
So, if you have, you set that at the beginning of your career, then you've always got something to improve on, so you can't do that.
Well, we've all got something in common. 97 Hobart was our first Hobart, so it was a bit of a longish light one from memory. I didn't say all of us.
You said all our Hobart.
I said some of us. But then moving forward from there, obviously the Hobie Cats continued, but then another great result in 99. I remember this one because 99 was a pretty tough year from memory. And you've gone on, what'd you get on Phillips Foot, wasn't it? Was that right?
Yeah, so we did, we did 98 as well on the Phillips Foot boat, which was an Elliott 11. And of course, it was a bit of a...
98, yeah.
Yeah, so we ended up standing by a boat in distress and then heading back to Eden and then Sydney. And then the next year we tried to put majority of the same crew together. And we went and we won our division, which is a I don't even know how to say it anymore. PHS. Not even so that was pretty fun.
And then, of course, gents, I could tell a lot more between this period of time, like mid to 99 to kind of mid 2000, when both Liz and I were living in Sydney. We'll just hold it there. But then Amma Sports, right? Amos Sports was kind of the next big move. And next thing you know, you're doing the Volvo Ocean Race.
Yeah. So, I was over in Europe at a Hobie event, and I ended up then on Giovanni Soldini's trimaran doing a delivery somewhere, and we dismasted. And he started telling me about this race around the world called the Volvo Ocean Race, and that there was a women's team putting together a team, and they were down in Spain. Sensenso, was it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was in the north of France by that stage, and they were shoving me up the mast to do the laminating on the inside of the tube. So that was all fun. And I decided that I needed to go down and find out what this Volvo Ocean Race stuff was about. So I hitchhiked pretty much the length of Europe.
What? I didn't know this bit.
They've got trains and planes.
Afford a train, mate. Like, seriously.
I love
I
it.
didn't have a phone. I didn't have a bloody bank account. I didn't have an email address. I was faxing my dad, to check in every now and then. And rocked up in Spain, sort of like had a kip on the beach, pulled myself together, put my little backpack on, and went and sort of asked if I could come sailing around the world.
Wow.
And the answer was no, of course, but that's all right. And then I caught up with Bicey and Jerry and the mob, and I actually pretty sure I went out sailing with the guys on the guys' boat for a day, and then it was kind of like, well, I don't have a phone number, but I'll give you Giovanni Soldini's number, because that's who I'll be with, because I was heading back to France for the start of the Jacques Vabre to help them out. And I can't remember who. Someone gave me some money for a train to go back, because they'd heard I'd hitchhiked up the entire length of Europe to get there.
Wow, it's a different time.
And basically, I got back to the boat. We're doing the preps of the Jacques Vabre, and I had no way of being contacted. And about 2 days before the Jacques Vabre started, he got a phone call from Lisa McDonald saying, is Liz around? We need someone.
Wow.
So,
Super cool. How cool is that story?
so off I was to Cape Town, heading into the Southern Ocean, which I didn't even know what it was. And
And
Place with
basically,
lots of water, right?
basically dominated.
Dominated, yes.
that's crazy.
I remember bits of that one. That was because there was a few crew changes on the Amos Sports too, from memory. So was it a happy boat, that one?
I just remember it being such an adventure. I mean, I was so young.
How old were you?
I think I picked up on any of that stuff. I was just like,
Do your job.
bunnies in the headlights the whole time and just loving life.
Yeah.
How old were you for that?
I was like 20.
20, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense.
I had my birthday in the when we were becalmed for 3 days in the Great Australian Bight, actually.
Oh.
That wasn't great. The first leg, the first leg just blows my mind. I think I remember every minute of it.
That year you came up into Sydney, didn't you? You came up into Sydney, the famous wipeout with Pepe Ribes and the guys on Ama Sports. And then you came into Sydney and did the Hobart race that year, didn't you?
We did.
Yep.
We did. Then like a 3-hour pit stop, which turned into a 12-hour stop for us, which was busted.
Shark ate the rudder.
Yeah, exactly.
Yummy, rudder.
I've got a few more stories to tell about that one, because I didn't quite make it down to Hobart myself, and I was meant to be there to help the teams when they got there.
Because you built the boats, right?
No, so I was part of the shore team with Amos Sports. But the boat I was on, Wild Thing, that was the year the tornado came through.
Yeah.
If we remember that.
Yep.
And yeah, so I was meant to be down there to being on a bigger boat with the idea that I could be there and assist with anything, but we didn't make it. So I had all these phone calls coming from all the boats, but I was still drunk back in Sydney. Never made it. But then, of course, straight over to Auckland. And then, well, let's face it, that was kind of one of the last more traditional races using the traditional routing, right? So, yeah.
Oh, it was, yeah. If I think about everything I've done in sailing, like that was just everything about sailing those boats was just hard work, and it was just an adventure. And just the team we had, and like we had so many sails on board. Like we'd have like a 2-hour discussion trying to figure out which one to bloody put up, you know. And it was. And I remember I was kind of like the sacrificial little one. It was like, oh, we need to do something up there or spike that spinnaker in 30 knots. We like, get up there, Wardley. And oh, okay. You know? And off we go.
Oh, I love
it. Like, you know, spike the spinnaker and the whole rig would be get on that. And I said, I wonder if that's normal, you know, come back down.
I mean, crazy. During those times, they're pretty significant figures in, well, women in sailing back then, like with Lisa, Emma, Bridget, all those people that were part of the EF campaigns. I mean, it's as a 20-year-old alongside those women who were, you know, professional athletes at the top of their game, that would have been a bit of an eye-opener just to be part of that.
Oh, it certainly was. Like, I mean, growing up in PNG and sort of coming into sailing like that, I didn't really, you know, I'd never really registered who was who. I didn't know any of these people, or I didn't, you know, women yachting, men yachting, all that sort of stuff wasn't really a thing. And I remember so many moments, like I was up on the bow with Bridget sometimes, and she'd just be like telling me how it's done, and I'd be just like sort of nodding my head, going, yeah, start this up, Wardley. And then like Karen, she'd just grab me by the scruff of the neck every now and then when a wave would be hammering down the deck and sort of pull me out of the way and go, oh, you nearly copped it then, Wardley. You know, just so onto it, I remember. And I was just like a sponge, a pretty loose sponge, but a sponge. Yeah.
Sponge nonetheless.
Yeah.
So you did it. So you did that race, and obviously a very solid bunch of female sailors. Do you catch up with them at all around the traps and sort of reminisce, if you like?
Yeah, you know, whenever we are in the same place, we always have a good giggle. I'm in touch quite a lot with Lisa at the moment, you know, just through Predict Wind and stuff. So she's just forever teaching me things. So that's pretty cool.
Like life mentors, you reckon?
Oh yeah, forever. You know, you go through an experience like that, especially when you're that young, and these people have such an impact on your life that, you know, they're always going to be that sort of figure for you.
It's a good point. It's a good point. Experiences. What is the standout of that? Let's just stay with that race, because as you say, it was all pretty green for you and you had no real expectations, I guess. What's the big standout? Vicey's laughing.
No, we could do a whole episode on just that one race. But yeah.
I think the big standout was just I guess realizing how you people just get on with it when it's so tough, because we had some pretty you know, tough moments in that race, either due to, you know, preparation or some breakages or anything like that. The first leg, you know, we lost all our stanchions on a jibe, and like,
that's right.
Yeah. There, bloody with no stanchions and trying to jibe them with no gloves on. Like I couldn't feel my fingers for 18 months after that race, kind of thing. And yeah, it was very just sailing. And I think that was a massive lesson learned. It's like, doesn't matter how shitty it is or whatever, you just, you know, you got to keep going. So,
yeah, we don't have a choice, do you?
So when you got, like, you made a really good point, you know, like coming out of New Guinea, there's not much information flowing there. So, you know, you didn't know about everything, but you got this great opportunity, which a lot of our young listeners would be thinking, oh, geez, I wouldn't mind having that opportunity myself. What do you reckon, when you think back, was the one thing you wish you had known before you got on the boat?
How cold it was going to be in the Southern Ocean. I mean, seriously. I had these like gumboots that we picked up from the hardware store because my feet were too small for the all the boots that they had, in the container. And I remember Caroline came and woke me up one day and she said, "Liz, it's snowing." And I'd never seen snow before, like ever. And I rock up on deck and I'm just blown away. And then the next day we saw an iceberg. I mean, I only ever seen ice in like, my parents' gin and or something, So, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and also being small, like the heat dissipates pretty quick, like it's easy for you to get cold.
Oh, yeah.
I just got this picture of you walking around the yard there with the boots on that are too big and the wet weather gear that's too big and everything's too big and you're lost in it all, and it's just because it's quite a funny picture.
The girl I was replacing for that leg was, I don't know, very tall, and I remember they gave me her gear and I was like,
just roll it up a bit.
Does it work if you cut the legs and arms off?
Exactly.
Oh,
so, right, given we kind of have some time restriction, from that you flowed into thinking, why don't I build my own boat? And you've built yourself a mini transit. Is that right?
I did, actually.
Is that the timing? Yeah.
Timing. So, I saw them in La Rochelle, of course, during Emma Sports. And I thought, wow, they're pretty cool. Why don't I build one of them? Because, I didn't know how to build a boat or anything. So I ended up piggybacking with onto the back of the build of Chris Sayer's second boat, because he built a boat and sunk it and then started building another one. The timing worked out pretty well for me. So basically what I did was pestered him until he said yes, and then helped him lay out his hull and deck, and then I used the mould, and then I would help him on his boat in the morning and then go and do matchy-matchy on my boat in the afternoon and evenings. And then I learned how to build a boat.
That's a cool way of doing it.
Yeah. And then
I think it's in New Zealand now, isn't it? Your boat?
It's actually for sale.
It's for sale in New Zealand. Well, I met the guy who owns it. He was actually standing around looking at my boat. There you go.
Yeah, so it's done the full tour. It took it up to France, and it's back in New Zealand. So it's a very well-traveled mini.
Did you enjoy sailing them? Hey? Did you enjoy sailing the minis?
Yeah, I did. It was awesome, like a handful. That's a great learning curve because, of course, you got to do everything, and they're pretty well. They are robust, but you do break them a lot. Well, I broke mine a lot.
Liz, you're sort of you as you said, you're boat captain of an Amoca now. You've been boat captain of the Volvo boats. You've been sailing around the world in the latest iteration, so you've seen it all. And when we talk about the minis now, like the minis are going through this whole thing where you got the production version, you got the protos, and you got the full flying protos, you got the low flying protos, you got the water hugging ones. Like, do you still look at those and think, oh, they're still cool, or you're onto the bigger boats now?
Someone asked me the other day if I was to go back to solo sailing, what I would do, and I'd probably say I'd probably do a mini. Yeah, because right. I was in Lorient last weekend and there was an event on, and there was 130 minis in the one marina.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's insane, isn't it?
It blew my mind. It was, and they're all, there's boats from like the generation where I built mine, and then there's, the latest one that got launched a couple of weeks ago, and they're just a hive of activity. Everyone still like lives on their boats and just
2-minute noodles.
It's just a whole lifestyle. Yeah, eat noodles.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Everyone's just
definitely, if you can and you've got the opportunity to do a few weeks in the mini circuit, it's quite a cool thing.
On YouTube, there's all these people doing the van life thing, where they show their vans and stuff. But in reality, for the sailors, it's the mini life. You get your boat, you live in it, you just make it work. You roll the dice, and that's what you've done. So yeah, very cool.
So we're 4 or 5 years into your career, Liz. What's next? What happens between the minis and what SCA? You're like, basically on the road, open 60s, a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah. Wow. I did like 6 years of Figaro.
Mm.
So that was very French. Way.
We know which side of France you've been on. Where?
So yeah, did Figaro, dabbled a little bit in the Open 60 stuff, and did some short team stuff for Penda. Sailed halfway around the world double-handed on this 50-foot boat that someone wanted to develop for a race, and pretty much broke everything. Set off solo to do the same thing and dismasted off Madeira and had to do a jury rig to try and get back to Portugal. That was a big moment in life. Yeah. And then did a bit of stuff with Lady Cat in Switzerland. So that was pretty cool on the D35s. And then around 2010, I decided that maybe I'd had enough of sailing. So I actually stopped sailing for about a year and a half, and got into sort of paddle sports, canoes and stand-up and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, and then Team SCA came along, and out of retirement I came.
Now, before we get into Team SCA, because that's obviously a massive part of this. Now, this is a super serious question, Liz.
Uh-oh.
It was coming.
Now, for those that do follow you on the socials or are friends on Facebook and stuff like that, there's someone or something that pops up on pretty much every post that you do, and that's Barney.
Oh yeah.
When did Barney, the little soft toy, come into the game? It was definitely during SEA. He was there. Is that right? Or am I wrong?
No, he was definitely there. No, he was there before that. I got Barney for my 30th birthday. So yeah, it would have been a couple of years before Team SCA.
And Barney's been on every adventure since. We should get Barney on the show at some point as well.
An interesting interview.
Loves a podcast.
He's not even here at the moment. He's down on the rowboat, mate. He's waiting for our little adventure.
Toiling away, doing a bit of work.
All
right, SEA. Obviously, that's kind of next. The next, let's say, great opportunity for female sailors to kind of get back into the ocean racing scene with a proper budget as well, which is important. Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely weren't wanting for anything, that's for sure. It was a pretty amazing, as you said, an amazing opportunity. We were kind of given a Volvo Ocean Race project on a silver platter, and we had great coaches. We had full 2-year preparation. We had training boat. We had a Volvo 70 before we had the 65, and we had time, we had money, we had resources, and it was
And you're in the Canaries.
Pardon? And we were in the Canaries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Liz, with that, you've obviously, before SCA, you've done a huge amount of stuff, right, and learnt the hard way. Then when you got the SCA, as you said, you got the coaching, and you're on with a team. It was a pretty phenomenal team. What was something you learnt that you'd gone, oh wow? Was there anything where you had like this big revelation with whether it was the coaches or with your colleagues or anything like that?
I think, yeah, for sure. I mean, I learned so much, I think it was more, I'd been out of sports. I was pretty young, so it was just a big adventure. And then I'd kind of been rolling solo ever since then, and just sort of dipping in to teams here and there, but never really. It was the longest time I'd ever sort of spent on a campaign kind of thing. And I think just learning just people, I guess, just learning how to deal with people and be around the same people for so long, and who were all sort of on this one sort of wagon of kind of life stopped, and it was all about the campaign. And just learning how to deal with that and learning about being around the same people. You sort of kind of live with them, you train with them, you prepare with them, and then you have to, race a yacht flat out around the world with them. So yeah, I think that was that was the hardest part for me, actually.
Yeah.
Because I'm a bit of I learned heaps on that aspect.
I'll tell you, gents, and this has come up a couple of times, but between various people we've interviewed, but leading into that SCA, or the start actually of the race, not the start of the campaign, I went and spent a bit of time with the girls in the Canaries, and with the coaches and with the girls, and we went sailing. I went to the gym with them. Holy shit. These girls were the fittest you have ever seen. Like it was phenomenal to see the preparation that went into it. And the preparation started all the time, a long way earlier than that, when I think actually you had a 45. The team had a FAR 45 at some point, and then that had the Volvo 70. Then you end up in the Canaries, and then the whole, like, between trainers and the coaches, like the preparation, that was the key to, well, let's face it, when you won that leg from Lisbon into La Rochelle, like that, not La Rochelle, into where was it? Lorient, sorry. Yeah. Like that, pretty much everything that was done up until that point in time led to that point right there.
Oh, it certainly did. Like, I remember all the preparation for that leg, and just everyone was key. Like our coaches, Axel for the weather, Santi getting us ready physically and stuff. And just, we had a plan and we followed it, and we all worked together on it, and it was short and it was intense, and it all just clicked and came together. And it was a really cool feeling of accomplishment when it was pretty nerve-wracking the last few miles, but when we went across that finish line, it all made sense.
I thought it all came down to the coaches promising that they'll be wearing magenta suits on the dock if you win the leg.
I forgot about that. Yeah, Brad Jackson looked pretty sweet in his pink suit, didn't he?
My favourite memory was when you guys won the import race in Abu Dhabi.
Oh, yes.
That did cause some consternation, I think, for a few people that didn't. Yeah. Anyway, slightly different views on women and their place. But it was a ton of fun that day. I remember that one really well. That was the joy of that, being able to do that full campaign and a big budget. The next one, it was not a big budget, and you were very much in the role of a leader in that boat when we went around with Turn the Tide.
Yes, so Turn the Tide, that came together pretty last moment. So we can't forget the Boatyard period in between then.
Oh.
That was the time of my life.
Do you want to talk about?
Can I give one highlight?
Yeah, you want to talk about some of the Boatyard
You've got
stuff?
a few.
Liz, you can give your highlight. One of the greatest highlights there's a couple. One, you and Jack living in the same house, you became best of mates, and you must cherish that forever. Two, I remember your little car that you had.
Oh,
and you put the back wheels on like the McDonald's.
It was the hubcaps, wasn't it? Or was it?
Or whatever it was, and then just smoke around the car park. Now that was loose. That was looser than the Southern Ocean on Amer Sports, let me tell you.
So I don't think Bicey quite explained it.
I guess my highlight was to draw onto that. So yeah, Thursday night drifting in the car park. But,
What sort of car was it?
Last day of the refit.
Oh, it doesn't matter what the car is. But it was mandatory in the Boatyard Thursday night beers with everyone. Right. And you can choose your poison, of course, but it was mandatory that everyone must come, have a little bit of a social with each other. But it was definitely one of the highlights, without a doubt. So not to mention from the bottom of my heart here, that when we went into that refit period with the Boatyard, there was a couple of key people that you needed to be part of that. And one of the first people that comes to mind is, of course, you, Liz. Having known the boats, been on the boat, spent so many hours not only on the water but also off the water with them, and you're pretty instrumental in pretty much the success of what happened through there. So
that was a thank you, Liz.
You enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a hug.
Yeah,
Podcast hug.
Nice work.
That was some of the best months of my life. That was so cool. It was a lot of hard work, but it was it was pretty epic team to be involved in.
The culture is legendary. Definitely, there's no question there.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, for sure.
good place to live too, that part of Portugal, wasn't it? Like, it was it's a nice part of the world where, everything's cheap.
And for you, my friend, Portuguese tarts, Jordan. Just love the Portuguese tart.
Pasta de nada. Yeah. Oh, those
Easy, mate. Easy.
My favourite memory was going to a bakery, which I love, and then having 500,000 beers with you and Coxie, like you're going in for a pasta de nada, and next thing you know,
Next thing you know, it's 7 hours later.
Yeah, the Portuguese have beers in their bakeries. They're smart.
Well,
people.
it was a good breakfast, let me tell you.
Indeed.
All right, Liz.
All
Enough reminiscing on that particular place. Oh, Don Manolos, that's another story. Oh, that's a whole episode in itself. We should actually record live from Don Manolo one day.
Our poor listeners, they're just going, shut up, you idiot. Yeah. Anyway, back to,
Turn the tide.
Turn the tide. Quick race around the world, doing a bit of scientific measurement, having a bit of fun.
Yeah.
A lot of youth.
Another lap. Yeah. A lot of youth. So, I think 6 of the crew were under 30. We had a fair bit of a very, very diverse range of sailors from sort of everywhere and every sort of part of sailing, and a fair bit of inexperience at the beginning. I remember out of Lisbon, it was really windy.
No, yes.
Oh, yes.
Bending it, and the sea state was. I just look at some of the images from that and then remember that first night, just going, how cool was that? It's some of the best sailing, and just sort of around me at that stage, going, what next?
And what if?
So watched this from here, and suddenly, we had people on board who had spent sort of no more than 2 nights at sea before.
Yeah.
It was on.
It was definitely on. Some of the best footage coming off that night. That was unbelievable. Yeah. And you go all the way around the world. Well, you're thinking 3 times around, I'm starting to get a bit, this is my turf now, I've become a bit of a experienced soul now. I know what I'm doing. I had the warm clothes for the Southern Ocean. Is that what you're going to say?
I was so warm. It was great.
Special production for the smaller people.
Yep. I've taken up my own
the Liz Wardley range.
Yeah.
What about, so you're racing around the world, right, Liz? And there's always stuff going wrong. But, like when you're on the boat, you'd spent months and months and months and months putting all those boats together, like you were the boat captain role on that boat. Did that inspire a bit more? Did it change the way you approach things? Did you sort of change how much you push the boat, or how you could explain things to people, or if something was at risk, you could see it coming? Did it make a difference?
Yeah, for sure. Like going to that race just with so much confidence about the strength of the boat, the ability of the boat, the equipment, like just knew everything inside out, which was a pretty unique position to be in. Like even when it came down to the boat preparation and the spares that you took, like I remember comparing the spares we had on SCA with the spares we had on Turn the Tide, and just sort of, saying, oh, that was pointless, or I didn't think about this, and then when something did go wrong, it was just such a quick reflex of going, she'll be right, we don't really need that, worry about it in a week's time, we've got some calm weather, or oh yeah, this is a showstopper, I better get onto this, And just like the general maintenance from day-to-day stuff was just way more chilled. I got so much more sleep, even though we had a more inexperienced team and we pushed the boat so much harder in that leg, even us in relation to sort of in comparison with Team SCA, and just completely chill about it, It was, it was,
Hey,
the way
a serious, and this is a proper serious question.
Oh, no.
No, she says.
Oh, hang on. Siri just came up and said, "Oh, I've got a serious question too." Anyway, similar to you, like having been in kind of that boat captain role, I quite often found there was a bit of a conflict between getting the boat across the finish line or pushing it to its maximum capability. So when you did cross the finish line, it might have, who cares if it broke and fell apart and sunk type thing. So where do you kind of draw the line between the performance side and being the boat captain and responsible for the boat side?
Yeah, that was a really tricky one because I was also the watch captain. So I was kind of, also in charge of, when I was on deck, of course, the performance of the boat. So if I saw something happening that I knew was potentially it was more in the maneuvers and stuff for us, just because we were kind of learning on the way. I'd pull it up pretty quick if I knew we were going to break something stupid that was going to slow us down. That was sort of more the thought process. If it's something going to break that's going to slow us down, we need to do it differently. If something broke and wasn't really going to slow us down, it would give me a little bit of a task. But it was a tricky balance.
But of course, the advantage, but the ultimate advantage of being boat captain, you could run the generator when the time was right, so you could put your boots and socks in the generator box and make sure that when your watch is over, nice and toasty.
We charged when I came off watch, equator. Yeah, I only charged when I was on deck, that's for sure.
Correct.
I want to throw a hypothetical at you, Liz. You mentioned...
Oh, this is kind of like my serious question.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. You mentioned problems, ones that she'll be right and ones that are showstoppers and you've got to do something about. So I'll throw a hypothetical problem at you and tell me if it's a showstopper or if it's a she'll be right. We worry about it later.
On our show.
Oh, I like this. This is a new segment. Yeah.
Showstopper, or what was that? What was a showstopper or what?
She'll be right.
She'll be right or showstopper.
Yeah,
I like where we're going here.
Yeah.
Go on.
Man overboard, Nick Bice.
She'll be right, mate.
Is it a showstopper or she'll be right?
Oh,
well, we don't need two boat captains on board.
Yeah, exactly. Depends on the geography, I guess, If we could get back to shore, all right, we'd probably give him a crack for a while and see how he goes.
Or if it was a Thursday, mandatory beers.
Oh, yeah, that's a showstopper. Get him back. Yeah.
Love it. I think, boys, we're going to run out of time. We have to start talking about rowboats, don't we?
Next adventures.
Adventures. I think we have to come up with this adventure because we all sitting here soft, old, fat.
Keepers. You right, mate?
Wow. I'm talking about you too. I'm glamour.
Yeah,
but
it's quite svelte, red hair. Whatever.
Anyway, what's your latest adventure, Liz? You've given up sails.
Oh, no, I haven't given up sailing. No, there's still a lot of sailing ambition in there. Definitely, haven't ticked all those boxes yet. But I don't know. I was involved in sailing Poland before you asked. No, we didn't hit any ships. For a few months. And I kind of needed just a little bit of side project. And so I figured, rowing across the Atlantic could be, something to just keep me quiet for a while.
Wow.
So I bought an ocean rowing boat and, when they
Barney's down there preparing it for you.
Barney is down there on the tools as we speak. He's a little...
So I was probably happier with that rather than a sailboat. There's a lot more on a sailboat.
Yeah,
Well, you haven't seen the complexity of the Rollock,
Yeah.
let me tell you.
So complex Rollock, you reckon?
Yeah, where do
So-
you go? You go
No,
from the Canaries?
talk to us about it, Liz. Where, like, everything, the route, the preparation, what goes through your mind?
There's there's actually a lot of preparation involved. It's very complicated for a little boat. And of course, coming from a boat captain role, I'm like, oh, how can I make it better? How can I make it light?
Yeah, let's lift it out.
there's
Let's
a
wet
lot of
rub it.
that going. Yeah. Yeah, so we're going from the Canaries, La Gomera, over to Antigua, and anywhere between 40 and 60 days. So it's a race, so I can't choose the weather to leave.
That is a race.
Oh, wow.
So if it's shit weather, you just sort of just have to deal with it, and then but if it's glamour weather, then you're off. But,
So,
I don't really know what to expect.
look, I can get the concept of it, right? You sit down, you go backwards for a while. You got a bunk, you got some navigation. Like, what do you do when you got to have a nap? Like, do you throw out a sea anchor or something, or what's the rules? Like, or is it just drift?
So, well, it's up to you to decide. If you've got the current and the wind, and you're generally drifting in the vague direction very slowly, then you just let it drift. If you can actually have some steerage way while you're drifting, you can put your autopilot on. We've got a little electric tiller pilot. Or if you're going backwards on the racetrack, it's power anchor.
Yeah, okay, so that's allowed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, one of the other things that's happening in Europe a bit at the moment are the orcas have decided that they're going to take out most of the sailing fleet. Have you negotiated with the orca union at all, or like is that something you worry about?
Definitely. It's super concerned when we were going in and out of the Med with the 65 earlier in the year, because it's getting worse. And I had a good gig last year. We sailed out of there and turned around and went up the Portuguese coast, and they'd set out this orca exclusion zone. And I'm like, well, wondering if they'd told the orcas that they weren't allowed in there. It was very weird. So but yeah, they're generally bigger than my boat, the rowboat. So an interaction wouldn't be ideal, but hopefully they're far enough east.
But I mean,
one of my ex.
Definitely think about it now.
What's that? Sorry.
I said I'll definitely be thinking about it now.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, thanks, Jordan. Good one.
I was just going to say, one of my ex owners of one of my minis, the RG650, he did the Atlantic row before he sailed minis. I always wondered why he was the way he was.
Whereas this is the opposite way around, you reckon? So
he had one of those. I mean, it's the same as yours. It's it's fairly complicated bit of kit.
Yeah. There's a lot more to a road.
We've seen on the socials you've taken it out into the Solent. You've done around the island, is that right? Once.
Yeah.
And you're spending a lot of time on it. Is it one of those things where you just similar to where you ended up after the whole refit thing? You know the boat so much, you just know exactly how it reacts in different things, and it's just a matter of spending time on the row seat going backwards, or it's how's that work?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, because it's something that I know nothing about, and it's that's the part that freaks me out the most, is sort of knowing how it's going to react and stuff. So I've just decided that every opportunity I get, no matter what the conditions kind of thing, I'll just go out there and start learning it all and figuring out how to
learning it all. When you first got on the thing, were you concerned about going around in circles a bit?
Oh yeah, good point.
Like I'm a hopeless backstroke swimmer. I always find I bump my head into the side of the wall because I've got no sense of direction going backwards.
You can teach yourself.
Well, yeah, I could, but it's one of those things, isn't it? Rowing is. Rowing's hard at the best of times, and you are just going to be out there in this boat on your own. And imagine seeing your GPS and going, "Oh my God, I've just done a full circle for the last 4 days."
Yeah, no, it's it's definitely weird. The first thing I bought was a massive rear vision mirror because I can't see over the cabin top. So going in and out of the port in Valencia where we were training to start with, you would completely reliant on this bloody mirror. And then the compass and everything all reads 180. So I had to do a bit of calibration instrument, and then a flash mode made me a reverse compass. So now at least I have the right numbers coming up at me, so I don't have to try and do maths at the same time. But
I love it.
It's weird because you stand in the boat and you think you're going to the front of it, but it's actually the back of it, and then it's very weird.
Back to front.
Hey,
yeah, cool.
I got to ask
That's
one
an
question
adventure.
though. You see every rower, you see pictures of their hands. It's like the Volvo, you know. You always see pictures of their hands at the end, and you got all the calluses and the blisters, which is fine. Don't give a shit. What I want to know, how many blisters you got on your ass?
Yeah, that's a big problem.
I'll bet.
You talk to rowers and stuff, and I think they say, it's the biggest problem, and it's all about the seat. So
Especially if there's a bit of water and, like days and days and days.
Yeah, but I'm actually heading to Holland in 2 weeks, and there's a company that's going to take a mold of my butt, basically, and make me a custom seat to see if I can stop less movement.
You could probably raid Icey's Vaseline stores and use a bit of that.
Yeah.
I was going to say, we get a bit of the flash tape. Probably
Flash
not
tape.
Appropriate.
Bit of lanolin, you'll be right.
Oh dear,
Yeah.
love it.
All right, we'll leave that one there.
Yeah,
So when do you go, Liz? When do you go? Is it when it's a race? So it's a start date. So when is it? If we were going to watch,
On the 12th of December.
hey,
On the 12th of December.
12th
Oh,
of
so it's
December.
not far away.
So Christmas and New Year's at sea.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
And comms, what's the rules with comms? Obviously, you've got
Comms is open.
Sorry?
Comms is open. Comms, you can do whatever you want. There's no limits there.
So
Are we
everyone
going
from
to see?
Barcaroni
Are we
can-
going to see a little bit of live coverage there, or is that sort of a plan potentially?
I think so. Have a bit of a giggle halfway across the Atlantic.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Love it.
Barney's handy on the IT, by the way.
Yeah.
So he'll get
On
it
board.
sorted.
Onboard photographer.
The OBR.
Yeah.
Barney.
Can I suggest you find a really, really good podcast and download heaps of episodes?
Yeah,
Yeah.
ones that have got about
Oh.
212.
Don't do this one, otherwise you'll fall asleep. You'll wake up in Africa.
crash.
Not
on
this
30.
particular episode, I'm saying, just other, just in general.
I don't know. I reckon this episode's been pretty funny.
It's been good. All right. I think we're going to have to call it, kids. I think we've run out of time here. But Liz, I mean, you're an incredible human being. Like, I think everyone listening would be just sitting there going, holy dooly, I've never heard of a person roll the dice more than you.
I don't think we've touched the size, to be honest.
Yeah. I think we'll have to do another ep just to talk. Maybe once you've done the paddle, we'll get you back on and we can go through a whole bunch of things. Yeah, and
Jury.
send us some photos of your ass. No, don't do that. Don't do that. We'll just stick to the
You
hand.
won't need photos. We'll just get a photo of the seat.
That's it.
Hey, I'm sure we'll speak before this, but good luck in your preparation. And we'll be looking forward to hear more. Go on, Jay.
I was just going to say, if people want to back you in,
Yeah.
how do
absolutely, good point.
we get in contact? How do they get in contact if they go, oh yeah, we want to give Liz some love? Give Liz some love. There's your slogan.
Oh,
We're awesome.
like it.
It's a pair of pirates.
So just
So
search Pair of Pirates, because I know on Facebook it's Pair of Pirates. What other socials you using?
Yeah. Instagram, Facebook, and you can sign up on the website for updates, and there's a link to GoFundMe and all that sort of stuff. So
Right. So Pair of Pirates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love for Liz, and there'll be like a silhouette of your rowing seat.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
Bloody awesome.
Cool.
Awesome, Liz.
All right, Wardley.
Nice one.
Farewell, Wardley. Best of luck.
Wow.
Well.
That was a bit of a whirlwind, I'll say, gents. But Liz definitely has to come back. Like I said, there's so many elements of her career and life that could actually just be one episode in themselves.
So many Wardleys, you reckon?
Oh, the Wardley. That almost sounds like a prize. Imagine
The Wardleys.
like the Wardleys. Like the most
Every year.
the waterman or waterwoman
person.
of the year
Yeah.
wins the Wardley.
Oh,
I love it.
we are all over it on this show.
We are.
Well, you know she's going to win the
At the
bloody
sailing
rowing.
at the World Sailing Hall of Fame, the
Yeah.
next trophy is the Wardley. Ladies and gentlemen,
But
Here we go.
what I got to say? Oh, sorry. Go.
I was just going to say, I wonder if the reverse curse will extend to rowing.
Oh,
Mm.
well, it has kind of already because you're already going in reverse. It's just whether you get the curse. So that's actually not a good thing.
well, that's why
reverse
we've
the
got to
curse.
maybe recall it the reverse curse.
Yeah. No, cool.
Go on.
No, beauty, Liz. No, I forgot what I was going to say. So
Okay,
carry on.
good one. Okay,
Yeah.
all right, move on.
All right. Other news?
Other news.
Club events. Club events. I'm going to call it a club event because I'm very interested. I tried to buy one of these this week and no one returned my call. The Finn World Masters are on in Greece, I think, in Kavala in Greece. You blokes know anything about Kavala?
All right. Just to get it clear, though, what did you try to buy?
A Finn.
Some Greek yogurt?
No, I had a moment
an
of
island
weakness.
off the coast of Greece,
I had
A
a moment of
Kavala?
weakness.
or by Kavala,
Yeah, no, I didn't buy Kavala. I didn't buy a Greek person or a country
Or a Greek
an
island.
island.
Or
No,
a hairy back? Oh, sorry.
I rang it. I
already got
sent
one of
a
those.
note about a Finn. Sent a note. Don't tell the bride. But anyway.
what about your hairy
Are
back?
you going to trade in the import? What
No,
do you
I
got?
can run 2-boat program, one for the
Oh.
North
Yeah, we
Coast.
can all run 2-boat programs. There's no doubt about that.
Well, I'll buy the cheapest, shittiest boat, so I've got plenty of excuses and no chance. So I'm just, I'm buying bottom scrapers.
Right, so you didn't get a fin, is what you're trying to say.
I haven't got it yet because the dude didn't come back to me, but you know. But anyway, they've had four races so far. It basically will be finished by the time we go to air. As we're speaking, I'm going to put my money on Felipe Silva because 4 races in, the Portuguese sailor Felipe Silva has got 13 points. Second place, Laurent Hay has 31, and then
Hazy, lift your game.
Come on, Loza. Sort it
Slovakian
out.
Peter Mozny is on 49.
Mozzo.
Yeah. And the man that invented the Antle block, Szegely Antle, from Hungary, is on 50. The Hungarians produce some good Finn sailors, don't they? Anyway, lots of love for the Finns and the Masters. Well, like I'm getting a lot of photos from dudes on the book, and it looks like there's very little sailing going. They've got the right attitude, the Finn sailors. Absolutely the right attitude. Have a lot of fun.
Go to a sailing event.
That's
Don't
it.
sail. Have a lot of fun.
That's it. Yeah. But anyway,
Take
enjoy
your boat-
yourselves.
Take your boat there, rig it up on the beach, stand around, have a laugh.
Leave it there. I like it.
Go to
Well, they're too
breakfast.
heavy to move, so I could never move. Anyway, Jack Lloyd Listener of the Week. Holy dooly, this is an easy one. Every mother, every person,
What were you going to say?
yeah, you know exactly where I was going. Every person, how many photos of people eating food did we get this week? Discussion.
I must admit, and just for the listener, you would have heard last week, Jordan, actually we all said just a little bit prior to the show, which we recorded post-show to say, just stick by this, listen to it, because it is pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And to tell you the truth, the feedback has been
Phenomenal.
the amount of people, just random, who've sent us messages, sent us photos, who are trying out the product, whatever it is, has been, without a doubt, our most engaged.
Of
insane.
course, we're talking about Radix Nutrition from last week, which we copped a bit for sort of saying we were sponsoring. But anyway, we'll get to that in a second. But
No, but that's your contract, mate. Not
not us.
not our contract.
I
Okay.
had the same thing. I was down. I was at the boat yesterday, and one of the gentlemen that was helping me out big thanks out to Lord Stevenson down in Half Moon Bay, who were helping me out. Royce comes down and listens to the show. He says, I thought I'd put it on for 10, 15 minutes. And in the end, I listened to the whole thing, so it was a very, very interesting conversation for sure.
Okay, well, let's take it the opposite view. Wesley Bemis, who Wesley's a great fan of the show. We hear from him a little bit. This whole week of Radix content is low rent, Bicey. So just for you, Bice, nothing to... What's next? Posting a video of putting on a gill jacket and saying how nicely it fits. I support BP for doing what it takes to sell an X2 to this client and what it takes to put on the podcast. It would have actually been more palatable had you taken money for an hour-long advertisement and identified it as such. This disclaimer-heavy fawn fest was hard to listen to and disrespectful to the high-quality interview you guys have conducted in the past.
Well, there's a problem right there.
All right, read my response.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I've had a couple too.
Where's the response? I've got a few more comments. You're probably right. Hang on. Where are you, Bice? Nick Bice, we need your commission soon. Jeffrey Kahn. Wesley, here we go. Lots of replies. Which one are you? Did you do it under your name or Barker?
No, I do it under my name as opposed to some of our other hosts.
Yeah, all right.
I don't know how to change it.
Bicey's put the free plug in. Musto, yes. Gill, probably not. Oh, that's harsh. Full disclosure, no monies, contra deals or merch packs change hands in the recording or filming of the latest step. I'd potentially sell my left nut to the highest bidder, though. Any ideas? BP, on the other hand, well, that could be another story. BP's definitely getting paid. There's no question.
100%.
He's 100% getting that.
No, we spoke about it at the start of the year.
As I said to my response to
but you're not feeding
Barkarati.
But as I said, we received nothing, from him if he didn't like it. And in our entire history, we've never received any money. And what we actually say is, as you say, Bicey, if you don't like it, send us money. And I said to mate, if you don't like it, send us the money.
Yeah.
Nothing heard.
I do want to call out Matthew Knight too. He sent us an idea of a guest. Like, we get quite regular submissions on ideas for guests. He suggested Jules Hall and Clogs because of the double-hander stuff coming up in Europe, which is a great idea. Loved it. And those blokes won the Sydney to Hobart a few years back. We love, if you guys reach out and send us ideas, we love it. I mean, we've got a list a mile long of people who want to talk, but I'm interested in what the people want to hear. So we are interested. So that's a good one. And the other one was Stefan's. Stefan was an international canoe dude.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
This was a good one.
What did he say? Hi, I'm Stefan, keen IC sailor. Didn't sail at the Nationals at Port Stephens the other day as I was hit by a car cycling a few days earlier. Jesus.
Bad luck.
And wasn't moving very well. I did, however, take delivery of my new canoe, Oz 39, pre-preg carbon hull, built by Brett Van Munster, finished by Jeff Kahn, who is there. Awesome boat. I did take it out for a quick test and got it up to 12.6 knots, but then the pain got a bit too much, so I packed it in. Was stoked in the performance. Hope to make it on the podium next year. So I've just bought my first Barkarati t-shirt.
Oh, he's on the podium. No question.
I really wanted a hoodie, but you sold out. This is my message. Can you please get more hoodies? We will get more hoodies. Yes.
Response is first step, and this isn't like a merch pack. Because you actually paid for it. It's in the mail. So it's actually, I'd be surprised if it's not with you by now. The T-shirt, but good deal. Actually, so the question was, gents, what colour hoodie should we do next?
To be honest with you, I don't mind that grey. Do we have to change it?
Well, I've got 13 grey hoodies.
I'm up for anything.
It just means you don't have to use a washing machine. It's perfect. You can go all year.
Well, let's do that offline, boys, and we'll come back. All right.
Yeah. Right. So, but if anyone has any ideas, let us know.
Yeah,
what kind of hoodie? What kind of hoodie?
Oh, colours on the hoodie.
Sorry.
Yeah. Cool. Let's do it. We'll get more gear out. We're just all the different projects. All right.
Yep.
Okay.
It's hot time with Bice.
Bice. Bicey.
Right. Gents, it's all about F1 this week.
Okay.
So, I'm not sure. It's almost a bit of a cock off, to tell you the honest truth, is what I've witnessed right now. And First of all, Soul GP have a new team. They will be competing in Chicago, and that is the German Soul GP team.
Congratulations.
Backed by none other. Yeah, by the way, well done. Great nation to have part of it. Backed by none other than Sebastian Vettel.
Yeah, he's put money into it.
He's put money into it. He loves it. Word behind the scenes, like Seb Seb. Yeah, like he's my best mate.
Yeah.
Well, the way he bloody dresses, he kind of is. Because I tell you, did you see did you see the release? The press release.
Yeah.
Here's everyone like all dressed. No, not ties or anything, but dressed up nicely. Here's old mate, bit of a floral shirt, untucked, white tee underneath, and he's wearing this little headband and stuff. And I think I said to you boys, took a screenshot. Do you reckon Vettel is actually going to regret
that look,
the way he dressed at that particular point in time?
Mate, if I was Sebastian Vettel, I wouldn't regret anything. I'd run the same program.
You reckon he really does care?
Yeah, 100%. But mate, that's awesome. A bit of a coup.
Yeah. It's great for publicity.
Well, absolute coup.
The Sail GP has attracted a few of the guys from the Formula
and
One.
They would have paid for a license.
So fully funded. So the other word behind the scene is, well, we've been talking about this for a while, is the more funded teams. They need more funded teams, and this one is fully funded.
Yep. So Tom Rydell
well done.
is the principal owner of that, Tom Rydell. The skipper's going to be Eric Hale.
And what's Seb doing on the boat?
He's keeping everyone's hair from each other. Flight control. Yeah, I love it.
I wouldn't be surprised. He's probably smart enough to pick it up pretty quick.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. Probably not too different. You're exactly right.
He'll be handing out the hairbands before.
Yeah, that's right. Keeping the hair out of
the
everyone's
regatta
eyes.
Starts.
But
big 49er influence there, of course, with the German team.
Yep.
And I saw some commentary during the week that it's kind of just getting all the old 49er guys back together.
Oh,
so the only thing we need now is to tuck Nath into the mix again, and you've got the full 49er retirement circuit going on.
There we go.
I love it.
For the youngins out there, not bad. The other F1 thing to mention is we had our, of course, Red Bull Alinghi out there, and there was photo of Max Verstappen and, of course, Daniel Ricciardo. They were out there chasing the boat around, getting selfies with it. So, as I mentioned earlier, a bit of a cock-off between Sail GP and America's Cup.
I see.
As you could imagine. But,
good
course,
for the sport. Good for the sport.
Max and Ricciardo, they were probably a bit more appropriately dressed, I would imagine.
Don't bag. I'm a massive fan of Vettel. Don't bag him. I mean, I'm
not bagging him.
He's a good guy.
It's like he's
got
time and a
good
place.
Moral compass, that boy. I think
time and a place.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's cool. So that's going on. A bit of a toughing it out between Sail GP, America's Cup. Okay. Here's another one for you, gents, and this is more local news. Not sure if anyone's up to date with this, but a Cape 31, one of our favourite boats, coming to Adelaide.
That's going to be interesting.
Love it. Love that a boat like that is coming here.
I'm moving back.
Why wouldn't you? Who knows? Could be a revolution.
Could be.
It's a good boat. It's a good boat, and I think that it's something that the owner in particularly in question, it suits him a lot more than where he went. But I think it's going to be good fun for him.
Well, he'll be listening. So congratulations, Julian Newton.
Let's do a live. He's a massive fan of the show, so we should do a live broadcast from the boat.
From the 31.
Yeah, next time we're in Adelaide together. Let's do that.
Good news. We'll make sure you take your shoes off if you're stepping on board, though.
Yes.
Good. The other one, boys, just through the socials, saw a bit of stuff going on, almost related to Liz's chat. There's a bit of mini stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And just want to chat a little bit about the foiling minis.
Yes.
High
versus
foilers, low
foiling,
foilers, skimmers, all those sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, is this kind of we're seeing the breeding ground with the moths, for example, for their Sale GP, America's Cup, all that sort of stuff. The minis, they're essentially the breeding ground for what the old mockers, old teams, all those sorts of things are, right? It's just a bit of a different culture going on.
Absolutely.
Any observations?
Well, yeah, if you don't mind, I would love to jump in there. What's important about this, the mini fleet, and a lot of people probably don't understand, is that a lot of these boats that you see now sailing, the mockers and all that, have come from the minis. Exactly what you just said. The first full scale barrel with David Raison design back in 2011. The first time it went sailing, it blitzed, and that changed the philosophy of this whole style of boat. And if you look at what the mini's done, even since the inception in 1977, it's changed a lot of design paths, if you like, and it continues to do so. Now, if you look at the mockers with the 60s now, they've got a certain style, if you like, of foiling, but the minis generally seem to crack something, and it filters into the 60s and into in the non-foiling classes as well, with the class 40s. So don't be surprised if they do something that, geez, this works well, and they'll go, let's put it on something bigger, and it does, and it just nails it.
Well, the thing.
Well, I guess. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, because there's a bunch of new boats going out this weekend. The Trophy Marie Agnes Perron.
Well done.
Yeah, which is this weekend.
Brittany.
Yeah, in the Brittany region. Yep, that'll do. That's enough French pretend. There's a bunch of new boats, and so there's this whole thing now with the low falling versus full falling sort of thing. And the low falling boats, because you can have a foil on you, or an air wing. What's the word? I've got a mental blank. Anyway, you can have a little foil on your rudder as well, right? With the minis.
Lift.
Yeah. But they're
elevator.
Yeah. Thank you. They're actually talking about keeping the boat low, and by keeping it low, you can rely on the
ground effect,
autopilot a bit, and not ground effect, but you're consistent. You probably don't have a higher speed, but you've got less chance of crashing off the foils, so you can push the boat harder. Is what it is. So it's more of the way to visualise their foils is a sea foil, like an Amoca almost. And then they keep the bum close to the water. The transom's just touching, and we're going to see a bit of that raced off this weekend, I think. So I'm interested.
Definitely good place to watch. If you're interested in this type of sailing, then the minis are a good place to watch.
That seemed the logical pathway for ocean racing boats.
Well, it's a financial thing as well. I mean, all in saying that, the new boats now, you're not short of getting on the water for probably under 150, 200,000 euros. I mean, it's a lot of money, for a 21-foot boat.
That's insane.
But, it is leading to these, and has done for a long time, this cutting edge. Canning kills came from there, water ballast. All this stuff has come from minis.
What would we do without minis, hey? BP came from minis.
Sort of. Liz, she loved them, and as I said to her, that boat's in New Zealand, and the owner is looking to sell, but he came up and had a look at my boat, and then from there moved on. So he's loving his little mini down there.
What else we got?
The only other one I've got, boys, is the TPs are back in action.
Yeah.
Where are they sailing? Scalino,
that's it. Some good
footage.
So
they by the time you listen to this, it would have been run and won, but so quite convincingly, I might add. So let's see where that goes, but let's call it the Mediterranean America's Cup boats, just whizzing it around, because it probably costs about the same to campaign one of those boats as an America's Cup these days. But we love those boats. 11 on the start line. We'll be keeping a close eye on that, and
one
everyone
thing
updated
of interest
the
is the new Thai team. The team from Thailand have entered the fray, which is a really cool thing. So we'll keep an eye on them as well.
Here.
Cool. Well, the only other thing I want to mention is the IWT Fiji event. Remember Bjorn Dunkerbeck was talking about that. I think that goes this weekend, or this week, next week coming up. So you can go, you can watch it live, and IWT_wave_tour. So you can look it all up. So jump on there. It's on our Facebook. There's a little link there as well. So you can jump on there and jump into that and have a look. So, yeah. Anything else?
We've got a fairly avid listener now in Bjorn. He's commenting a couple of times.
Yeah.
So I actually saw a good post of his the other day of him there enjoying himself. There is a lot of people there. That is a huge event. So
it is. World champs,
so looking
basically.
forward. Oh, it's a massive event. So we'll follow that with interest, I think.
Cool.
Awesome.
That's
Nice,
it.
boys.
Right. Well done.
Get your guitar, BP.
Oh, again?
Yeah. Did
Break
you leave
it out.
He's left it in New Zealand, haven't you? Oh, no, you borrowed one.
Yeah, no, well, that one. I've got to go and get the other one out of the case. Might take me a bit. Hang on a sec.
Oh, look, you got it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing.
All right. Have a great week, everyone. Thanks for listening.